All right, I will call this meeting of the Capital Committee to order at 2:31 on the June 11th. Up on the agenda, sorry if it looks like I'm looking way weird. I'm trying to get the meeting started. Streaming too. Let's see. So the number one thing on the agenda is to review our capital plan, vote on it, and hand it off to the Finance Committee. If you looked at the one that I had given, emailed you guys yesterday, I pulled out the ambulance line item because that actually comes out of the ambulance enterprise account. So it should save us a little bit of cash for our limit. And then
Ryan, is that the one? I just want to make sure I'm using the most up-to-date one. That the A's total up to 2,361,114.
That is the one.
Actually, Jim, when the ambulance was in there, it was totaling 2,496,889.
Okay, so I'm using the most up to date. Okay.
Yeah. So the one Ryan took out the ambulance fund, that was 135,775.
Ryan, can you?
Put it on the screen. Yep. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
What are you asking to put on the screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. How's that look?
Looks good.
That's the one.
All right. So as you can see, I pulled out the ambulance payment here. So that comes out of our total. I didn't know what you guys wanted to do for our submission as far as the bond payments that I emailed out that I got from Don. Do we want to include that here or just factor that into our calculation?
Well, I took a look at that, Ryan, and I guess I guess that's how we need to kind of talk about how we treat that. So what I did was if you take the 2,361,114 and you subtract the 1,260,600 and the 449,430, the two that we are recommending be bonded,
Yeah,
we're left with 651,684 out of cash from the A's of our list.
That's what I had, Jim.
Yeah, if you look at what the estimates for the two items, unfortunately, it looks like we can only bond up to 5 years for the study until we find out that the project is actually approved. That's seems like what it looks like. So we only have a 5-year term for that. But so the total debt service of that P&I for the first year is 292,800. And it looked like the total debt service for the steam pipes phase 2 first year was 32,813. So if we added those as the total of those two, that would be 325,713. That worst case would have to be paid in FY21. If you added that 325,713 to the 651,684 of our remaining A projects, it totals 977,397. And I think it's the correct me if I'm wrong, Mary, Tom, or Mike. We're looking to try to stay within somewhere around $1 million out of the general fund for FY21. And I would think this would be worst case, because I can't see us actually bonding these on July 1 and having 12 months of P&I payments for both of these. My guess is, there'll be some time spent getting both of these projects going. We'll do some short-term interest borrowing, And then somewhere near probably the second half of the year, we would wind up converting them into, perhaps not even by then, converting them into a debt and interest P&I. So one could make an argument that wouldn't be 325,000 against the general fund in FY21, more likely FY22, and it could be some number of interest less than that. But that's kind of the penciling I was playing with, given the projections.
Okay, so as far as our sheet goes, do we want to separate that out? It's the committee's feeling on it.
Well, my feelings are that it needs to be included because it is part of a capital request. And it's a different method of payment for that capital item. So even though we're bonding it, the bond payments need to come out of the capital side.
Correct.
Just for the first year? Then it transfers over to long-term debt and interest?
I'm assuming that's correct, Ryan.
All right. So as far as our sheet goes, do we want to reflect, what do we want to reflect as far as payment goes? Do we want to reflect the anticipated first year bond that Jim was just going over? Estimated
Yeah,
payments?
you certainly plug that in. It's 292,800.
Let's see here.
If we talk about that amount that was to enter into the MSB program, when would that actually be due? I wouldn't be before September, right?
Probably later than that, Mike.
That's what I was guessing. The earliest. I mean, I'm thinking it probably could go out as far as February. I think is a more accurate date. Would anybody agree with that?
That's it. If you then.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I mean that's deferring 292,000 till February of 2021. If we're trying to get these numbers accurate, I mean that's a big chunk.
Yeah.
Sure. So you'd say that's like six, a half a year. That 292 could be, half of that.
Yeah, I think we have to kind of speculate like we did with other departments, such as meals tax revenue. We need to amortize it probably over 6 months, the 292 versus 12, because we know we're not going to be pulling those funds for that particular project in July, correct?
Yeah, I think what I remember hearing from the school committee was their new deadline, I believe they said was February 1st.
Yep, they got an extension out to
Yeah.
February.
I can also say on the steam pipe project, we're not going to even start that. We're going to obviously get the design, finish the design for phase 2, but we're not even going to start that project till June. June when school gets out of 2021.
And that was my next question.
Yeah. So not till next summer at this time.
Frankly, I don't think Don has bonded yet for the projects he approved in fiscal 20.
Right. Typically, we pay for them by short-term borrowing until we put a few together or until they're done. But even if you assume that we started principal and interest, when we got there, it sounds like, only half a year's worth would possibly be allocated for FY21 for the school study, and sounds like it would even be later, starting for the steam pipe project.
Mm-hmm.
And if we did that, again, it's all back to the financial oversight committee, I suppose, in terms of how much you can use for what, but that would actually kind of open up a little bit of funds for any high priority Bs that we really felt strongly, at least potentially they could come in under that $1 million target that we've been given.
Yeah.
So with MSB, with that project, we probably need to pull the trigger when the time's appropriate, which would probably, a good estimate would probably be February. But Bruce, we could defer the other project till 2021, seeing that we're so close, right?
Well, this is the thing, planning stage and bids, I'll probably start that and bid release probably beginning of March. So I have all my bids in and award a contract, and then obviously boots on the ground and starting the project when school gets out, but not actually expending any of the money till June.
Yeah, so the money would have to be available in June.
Yes, yes.
So where I'm going with that, I mean, if we're all on the same page, then that would really fall into 2021, not 2020, right? And
Uh,
we can control that, right? When we want to start that project where MSB, I kind of think we need to pull a trigger when the time's appropriate for that one.
Right, but if we haven't voted on and allocated the money, even if we haven't bonded it, you know what I mean? We have to approve the project so I can actually do it.
Mhm.
That's all.
Right.
You know how long that kind of a project takes, Bruce?
I'll be done by the end of August, just like I did the previous phase 1 side.
So it's about 2.5 month project. So
Yeah. 2.5, 3 months, yeah.
yeah, so if you had to wait until July 1st of next year, you wouldn't be able to finish it.
Right, no, if I didn't get the money approved. No, see, that's what typically how all my school project works, unfortunately. I get the money July 1st of this year, but don't start the project because I got to plan all year, do RFPs and things like that, and get all my bids together and ready for when school gets out to get going on the project.
And
Unfortunately.
what if you did that and then you decided you wanted to delay that particular project? At least we have control over that, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
based on, I'm just throwing this out here, by the way, based on what Mary's seeing, which we don't know if this is going to be pretty much the same next year. Is it going to be worse? Is it going to be a little bit better? Then could we line ourselves up with thinking that we are going to start that project in 2021? But if we have to, hold back on it, then that we have to hold back based on revenue.
Yeah, we could do that too, but like you said, you don't have to commit anything. I probably won't, like I said, do the final phase or get the bids out until February or March. So you do have to like January in order to pull a project out. I'm just using an example, the steam pipes. So you're able to do that. So I think if things happen where we did run into a situation financially, we could always discuss that at the town council level and through the capital committee to pull these projects off if necessary.
Or to defer,
Or to defer.
because the authority for the project carries beyond the fiscal year it's approved in, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, until it's been rescinded by the council.
Right.
So I was just using Mary's February 1st date for, when the school project had to be like started. And that would be 5 months left of our fiscal year. And so if you did 5/12 of our 292,800 annual debt service, that would be 122,000 that one would project we'd have to spend in FY21.
Jim, what was the number again? Did you say 121 roughly?
122, Mike.
Okay, that's my, that's what I was looking at.
5/12 of the annual
Yeah.
P&I.
121,666, so 122, like you're saying.
And that, I'm not sure how the reimbursement works, Mary. Whether
On the
that
feasibility?
Yeah, in terms of for the feasibility, when the town receives that 46% or whatever, 57%.
Yeah, hopefully.
Reimbursement.
53, I think that was the number.
But I guess we shouldn't try to use that at this point, probably.
Yeah, because the percentage is always subject of question. But I suspect that once we submit for reimbursement, the turnaround time would be relatively swift.
Yeah.
Define swift, but
Do we have to fund the full amount for the feasibility study, anticipating that we're going to get some portion
My guess is you wouldn't fund it all at once. I mean, I'm assuming it would work almost like a construction project. You know, you'd put some down at the signing of the contract, and then have some progress payments, and then a final payment at the end. So, no, I think you're correct, Ryan. This would be like the worst case, meaning, you know, if I had to spend it all right at that point in time.
So why couldn't we approve the project contingent upon confirmed reimbursement from MSBA, and then take, go super conservative and take 40, fund it at 60% of the original amount, realizing we'll probably get 53% reimbursed.
I'm not sure. How about, Mary, do you know when the school committee comes in front of you, how that works? Don't we have to have a commitment of that whole amount in some way? Just,
I think we have to commit to the whole amount.
I think
it's
so,
a question
too.
of how to fund it, though.
right, okay.
And I think those conversations might take place in the fall, Bruce.
Right.
Right. We did have a conversation about the actual project itself contingent upon not just the feasibility studies looking at a new high school, but also looking at the current condition of our high school to see if there's any possibilities with regards to renovations or improvements.
Yeah, and that's what the feasibility study will
Right. So
provide.
if it's contingent on that,
So on our sheet, what I had done was took our original 292 bond number and then divide that by 12, then multiply that by 5, as Jim had laid out. Is everybody comfortable using that? And as the finance committee members comfortable with that, as far as looking at that on the finance side of it?
Makes sense mathematically, but
yeah, I mean, I don't see an issue with it. It's a good projection, and it does show the realization of money spent as opposed to putting money aside that we could have used potentially for other items.
Right.
I agree.
So that puts us at 806 for our A's.
So the 32 and the steam pipe that's the full debt service for a year, right?
Yeah, I mean, we could do the same thing there. It'd be divided by 12 times 2.
I don't know what people's thoughts are about that.
the
that follows the
32,000
same.
is the debt service for the year. Is that what you said?
Right now, it's a P&I for 12 months, I think.
The first 12.
What does that dollar figure represent? 1 month for the
No.
year?
1 year.
Oh, yeah, for 1
1
year.
year.
You know,
First year's payment,
gotcha.
including interest.
So you're really more like 6,000 if you're going to use 2 months worth, give or take. I didn't do the calculation, but
5485.
5485.
And is that conservatively reasonable, Bruce? Or
I think so, because I'm using what I did with the project too. I took what my remaining balance was and offset it with obviously this year's number. So currently I have to get going with the second phase. I believe, well, and this hasn't been confirmed with Olga, about 100,000 left for me to get all the bidding, the engineering portions done, and get this thing out on the street. So I think I have more than enough to get started with.
and do we have to do any short-term borrowing before we do the bond, or?
I think Don has a conference scheduled with Hilltop to
Okay.
discuss that
All
in
right.
the near future.
So the feasibility study, that's 5 months, and the steam pipe is 2 months, right?
But that's just the P&I So Bruce, do you have any other ancillary costs that would be incurred prior to the actual project? The
Nope,
bidding,
it's just
all
gonna
that?
be, no, it's gonna be engineering, advertisement, obviously, things of that nature. So
Okay.
I think it'd be sufficient, absolutely, what I have plus what we have there. Because I think my engineering previously was about 50,000, I believe, for phase one.
And I wonder, do we have the option, if this feasibility study, say, calls either for a new high school or rehabilitation or some project of a duration longer than 5 years? Wonder if we have a right to prepay those bonds and therefore be able to prorate the interest over the longer period?
That's a good question, Mary, because I think is it Dawn who did these, her email said something about if the project were approved,
Yeah,
uh, then the amortization could be spread
that
out over
corresponds,
the
yeah,
project
yeah.
life. So it sounds like you would have to build something in. This sounds like if it's a standalone only, you only got the 5 years, but if it's approved, you can push it
I
out.
just wonder if we would get a, push it out or recalculate or give us a credit for, a prepayment or something. I don't know, but it may alter the ultimate number as we go
Yeah.
along.
Well, yeah, I mean, 20 years versus 5 is a big.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so how's everything look as far as the A's go? That puts us at 778 for the A's. Actually puts us down into the high school switch gear, assuming that the finance committee can find another $15,000.
So I just found Don's email. I'll just read it quickly. The feasibility study is limited to a term of 5 years. However, if the construction on the school that was studied is authorized, the term of the study can be extended to match the construction, which is generally 30 years. So that's what she was saying. Sorry, Ryan.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's why I put that note in here under the bonding. So that puts us down into the B's, either, 11 or 14 grand short of the million, or 114 grand short of the million, or just over. What do you think, finance committee? Think you guys can find another 15 grand?
Well, I think our job for capital would be to make recommendations, and the final cutoff probably will come from the, fitting everything into the budget. But that would still be our priorities: the lawnmower, and then the switch gear.
I have one little opinion to share with everybody. I would, and I don't know how the committee feels about this. I would like to think about switching the electrical and the surface of the track, rotate those. I don't know how everybody else feels.
Well, my thought on that, we still don't have input from the CPC, and I think they might fund
right.
that.
Yep, I'm sorry.
They
Yep.
might be inclined to fund portion of it anyway.
Right, okay.
Because as you know, Bruce, the Friends of the Library did agree to pay for the library carpeting.
Yep.
Just got that notice
Oh.
today. So
Very
Yep.
good.
in a lesser portion than was originally, we're going to do some carpet squares and not the whole library. But I was very happy to see that they acquiesced in the request.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm thinking that the Community Preservation Committee may be persuaded to make a contribution to that.
Excellent.
But we're in between their application period.
Right.
All right, does anybody else have any other questions on the capital sheet before we vote on it to be submitted to the finance committee? Or really to the town manager?
I think it looks good myself. I'm happy.
Well, I think it reflects the product of our discussions.
Mhm.
Yeah. Agree.
Let's see. We didn't prioritize that or the permitting software.
Oh, yes. I can briefly talk about the landfill. I did speak with Mr. Hall. He is willing to defer it. I gotta send in some paperwork with his permission. I did tell him we'll still start some of the work, just clearing some trees, bringing some millings to do the road, not actually getting in there and doing engineering work and everything else, but just in-house labor. He's willing to give us that extension to do that starting next year. But I still have to contact the partial landowner that owns 10 acres of that's privately owned, and I think we're going to have a little bit of a fight, not a fight, but some discussions on our hands in order to acquire the rest of the landfill. So I'm going to be starting those conversations very soon.
Do we have to acquire the rest of the landfill?
I keep going back and forth with DEP on this, and yes, they want us to acquire the land. I go, well, if they want,
What is the value of that?
well, it's only 15,000, but like I said, I know the property owner.
I'm being semi-facetious.
Yeah, exactly. But I think I'm going to have a little bit of a struggle with the landowner, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And that's the other question too. We really haven't put any money aside for the purchase of the rest of the land. I know it's been assessed at about $15,000, but I don't think the landowner owner is going to let us take it for that amount. But we'll see what happens.
It's contaminated,
I think
isn't it?
that conversation ought to be taken offline,
Yes.
and we can discuss it at some more opportune time.
All right, and then the permitting software replacement, I did talk with Kevin, the building inspector, briefly about it. It was tough to put to paper what it would save us. As an alternative, I reached out to my counterpart in Longmeadow, and they actually just changed, are going through an implementation of a new software package from a company here in East Longmeadow. And that one looks like it's about, actually, that 70 grand would be like 10 grand. So that's a huge savings.
Wow.
So we used to use this company like 15 years ago for utility billing. So it'll be interesting to see how they make out with them. So that's
So
a big savings.
are you suggesting we change that?
I'm not. I'm just giving you an update. I think it's something to look at for FY22.
Okay.
Just want to give you guys an update on where we stand with looking into that project. Because the total thing over the first 3 years looks like it's about 30 grand, 40 grand with implementation. So, all right, year one hosting, total upfront, 9 users. Yeah, because we'd have to go through and evaluate exactly how many users we need and what we want to use it for too. But
So I would make a motion to approve our listing of capital projects in the priority order listed on our report, and recommend these to the town manager and the financial oversight committee.
I would second that.
And seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor by roll call, Bruce,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Mary? I think that was an aye.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Mike
Yes.
and Tom.
Yes.
And myself is a yes. All right. Our capital list is approved. I will get this updated and emailed out to everybody. Today is the 11th. Other than that, does anybody else have any business for the committee?
No, I would just say thank you, Ryan, for organizing it so well, and Bruce and Mary for all your efforts to find answers to things. So thank you.
Yep, good job, Ryan.
Next year, hopefully we'll get started a little earlier and be able to spread it out a little bit and meet with the departments and hopefully be a little more organized. But we made it happen. And
Yeah.
close enough to our deadline.
As long as we continue with the same formatting so that we don't have to go back and forth.
Yeah, I think this is what works. Best. That's what we all know. And
Yeah, it's been working for, as far as I know, at least 15 years since I've been involved with it.
yeah. All right. Other than that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Bruce Fenny,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Mike,
Yes.
Tom,
yes.
and myself is a yes. Thank you, everyone, for all your hard work on the capital plan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Cool.